library.
You don't need positivity when life is easy. You need it when life punches you in the mouth. The problem is that most people only try to be positive when they're already drowning. They look for motivation when the damage is done. They look for peace after they already exploded. They search for calm once everything is on fire. That's like trying to learn how to swim while the ocean is already swallowing you. Real calm is built before chaos arrives. Real positivity is trained like a muscle, not summoned like a miracle. Chapter 1. The first rule of calm. Train before you bleed. If you wait for problems to learn how to stay calm, you're too late. Life won't slow down so you can breathe. It won't give warnings before it hits you where it hurts. So the only way to stay mentally strong is to prepare your mind the same way athletes prepare their bodies. Before the match, before the injury, before the pressure. Calm is not an emotion, it's a skill. Think about your reaction during small annoyances. A rude comment, traffic, a delayed reply, losing a document. Is your reaction small or explosive? Do you tense up? Do you complain immediately? Do you let it ruin your mood? Those tiny reactions are your training ground. If you can't stay calm when someone cuts in line, forget staying calm when you lose a job, get betrayed, or face real setbacks. You think you need positivity in your darkest days. Actually, you need it in your regular days. That's where it's built. Let's make this tangible. Imagine two people both lose their jobs unexpectedly. Person A panics, blames everything, feels attacked by life, and spends weeks spiraling. Person B feels the same fear, but they already trained their mind to handle uncertainty. They breathe, assess their options, adjust their strategy, and move. Same situation, same emotion at first, different reaction because one has practiced emotional discipline before the crisis. Tell me this, which person would you rather be? Which reaction is more powerful? Which one leads to a better future? We admire strong people not because they have no problems, but because they don't collapse when problems show up. Calm is not luck, it's preparation. Let's take a small example. Think about waiting in a long line. Most people act like it's torture. They sigh, complain, scroll aggressively, get irritated at others who are just trying to live. But someone who trains calm uses this moment differently. They slow their breath, notice their posture, relax their jaw, maybe observe people without judgment, maybe practice patience. The line didn't change, the experience did. That's training, that's discipline, that's building positivity before life demands it. Now think about your conversations. If you get offended easily, it's not because people are cruel. It's because your emotional fitness is weak. If you argue quickly, it's not because others are stupid. It's because your reactions are untrained. If you feel overwhelmed by simple tasks, it's not because life hates you. It's because your mind hasn't practiced handling pressure. Training calm is exactly like training strength. You don't lift heavy first. You start small. You build gradually. You master technique. Then one day, you lift what would have crushed you before. The same goes for your mind. A calm person isn't numb, they're prepared. Let's get practical. For the next week, choose one daily situation to practice calm. When someone annoys you, when traffic slows you down, when plans change unexpectedly, when your phone is slow or the Wi-Fi crashes, when someone gives you attitude. Instead of reacting, breathe through the discomfort. Instead of complaining, observe the moment. Instead of trying to fix everything, allow it to be imperfect. This is how you build emotional strength, not by waiting for life to be kind, but by building a mind that handles life when it's not. Here's the truth. Positive thinking is not about smiling through pain. It's about creating a mind that doesn't collapse under it. Calm people aren't naive. They simply don't waste energy on what doesn't deserve their reaction. They respond with intention instead of reacting with impulse. So ask yourself, are you training your mind or letting it run wild? Are you building emotional muscle or waiting for life to break you before you start learning? Every day offers you small battles. Win those, and the big ones won't scare you anymore. Calm is a lifestyle. Positivity is a skill. Both are choices you make long before life forces you to need them. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into emotional control and learn how to protect your mind when people try to trigger you. Get ready to build strength where others lose control. Chapter 2. Stop taking things personally. You think people hurt you, but most of the pain you feel comes from your interpretation, not their intention. Someone criticizes you, and your mind instantly attacks itself with insecurity. Someone ignores you, and you start inventing stories about your worth. Someone is rude, and you believe it's a message about who you are. In reality, people act from their own stress, ego, confusion, jealousy, fear, and frustration. Very often, you are not their target. You are just standing close to their fire. Let's make this real. Imagine you're at work. Your coworker snaps at you for something small. You instantly feel tension. The mind starts talking. Did I mess up? Am I not respected? Do they hate me? But what you don't know is that they barely slept last night. Their rent is late. Their relationship is falling apart. And you just happen to be the first person in their path today. Their reaction wasn't about you. It was about their pain. But your ego took the hit anyway. Now ask yourself, how many times have you done the same to someone else? You snapped at a friend because you were stressed. You ignored a message because you were overwhelmed. You looked distant because your mind was heavy. Your mood wasn't a message. It was just your battle. Yet someone might have taken it personally. When you truly understand this, calm becomes simple. Positivity becomes natural because you stop giving away your peace to people who are just struggling in their own minds. Let's go deeper. Think about random rudeness. The driver who cuts you off, the cashier with the bad attitude, the colleague who doesn't greet you. You think their behavior is directed at you, but they don't know you. They don't care about you. They are just drowning in their own emotions. Why would you drown with them? Here's a powerful practice. The next time someone acts disrespectful, don't react, don't fight back, don't take it personally. Instead, pretend they're having the worst day of their life. Even if they're not, assume it. It trains your brain to respond with calm instead of ego. You protect your peace instead of defending your pride. Now, another moment to pay attention to is passive aggression. People who use sarcasm, guilt, or judgment often don't know how to communicate honestly. They attack sideways because they feel weak directly. Their behavior isn't a sign of their power, it's a sign of their insecurity. So don't get pulled into their emotional games. Let them keep their wounds. You don't have to treat yourself like a victim just because they don't know how to handle their feelings. Now here's the question. How do you stay unbothered without becoming cold? You grow compassion without losing boundaries. That means you don't fight back, but you don't accept disrespect either. You don't take things personally, but you protect your space. You let people have their emotions, but you don't make them your responsibility. Picture this. Someone speaks to you with attitude and expects you to escalate. Instead, you stay calm. They expect you to argue. You don't. They expect you to get offended. You remain grounded. In that moment, you dominate the situation without raising your voice. That's real power. Calm doesn't mean weakness. Calm means control. You hold your center when others lose theirs. You respond from strength instead of reacting from ego. And when people can't control you emotionally, they respect you, even if they don't like you. So here's your practice until we move to the next chapter. When someone irritates you, pause, breathe. Don't defend, don't fight, don't explain. Just observe. Ask yourself one simple question. What pain might they be carrying that has nothing to do with me? This one question will save you from unnecessary anger, misunderstandings, and emotional drain. It will free you from absorbing other people's chaos. It will train you to see beyond words and moods. And most importantly, it will keep your peace where it belongs, in your hands. In the next chapter, we'll break an even deeper cycle: how to stay positive when your own thoughts attack you. You mastered other people's triggers. Now it's time to master your own. Most people think their mind is their friend. They believe their thoughts are guiding them, supporting them, protecting them. But the truth is harder to swallow. Your mind can be your biggest enemy when it runs without discipline. You don't lose peace because life is painful. You lose it because your thoughts turn every small event into a battlefield. Chapter 3. Master your thoughts before they control you. Let's start with something you've experienced many times. You wake up with a clear mind. Nothing bad has happened yet. But suddenly a single worry enters. A deadline, a bill, a text you didn't answer, a feeling of being behind, a memory of a mistake. Your mind grabs it and begins a spiral. Nothing physically changed, but your mood is ruined. Your mind didn't react to reality. It created its own storm. Your thoughts are not facts, but your brain treats them as if they are. It takes imagination and turns it into reality, even if nothing happened yet. Your mind lies to protect you. It exaggerates to prepare you. It creates fear to prevent you from failing. But the problem is simple. The more you believe these thoughts, the more trapped you become inside them. Now look deeper. Notice how your thoughts attack you the most when you're alone, tired, or scared. It waits for your weakest moment. That's when it whispers the loudest. You're not enough. You're too slow. You're too late. You'll fail. People don't respect you. You should be doing more. Think about how many dreams were killed not by failure, but by the voice in your head convincing you to quit before trying. Let's make it practical. Imagine two people walk into a job interview. Both have similar skills. One enters with a mind saying, "They probably won't like me. What if I mess up? I'm not that impressive." The other walks in thinking, "If they want someone capable, I'm a great choice. Let's see if we're a good match." Same skills, different voice. Who gets the job? Not the most talented, the most mentally prepared. Here's a direct question. Why do you trust every negative thought, but doubt every positive one? Why is it easier to believe I'm failing than I'm improving? Did someone teach you that? Or did your mind simply get used to fear? Fear loves imagination. It loves scenarios. It loves convincing you of problems that don't even exist. If your thoughts always assume the worst, it's not because you're realistic. It's because your mind learned to protect you in unhealthy ways. You need a new foundation. The first step to mental strength isn't thinking positively. It's learning to doubt your negative thoughts. When your mind says you can't, don't fight it with forced motivation. Ask, is this true? Or is this fear pretending to be truth? When your mind says they don't like you, ask, do I know that? Or am I guessing? When your mind says I'll fail, ask, have I even tried yet? Your brain needs questions more than affirmations. Questions break illusions. They slow down fear. They expose exaggeration. They force the mind to face reality instead of imagination. A disciplined mind doesn't believe every thought it produces. It questions everything before accepting it. Now, let's talk about overthinking. Overthinking isn't thinking too much, it's thinking without direction. It's mental spinning with no destination. You try to control the future in your head because you don't trust yourself to handle it when it arrives. That's the root. Overthinking is a lack of self-trust. You don't believe you can face difficulty, so you try to escape it mentally before it happens. The solution isn't emptying your mind. You don't need silence. You need trust. You need to believe that whatever happens, you will respond with clarity and strength. Remind yourself, I'll handle it when it comes. That one sentence kills overthinking faster than any meditation. Now, let's talk about the past. Your mind loves replaying old mistakes because it believes analyzing them again will protect you from repeating them. But reliving pain does not prevent future pain. It only keeps you stuck. There's a difference between learning from the past and living in the past. Regret does not teach. Observation does. Instead of telling yourself, I was stupid, tell yourself, I didn't know better back then. Now I do. The mistake remains the same, but the interpretation changes. The mind quiets down because it sees growth instead of failure. You don't need forgiveness. You need understanding. Understanding yourself turns regret into wisdom. Now look at comparison. When your mind sees someone doing better, it instantly turns them into a threat. Not because you're jealous, but because your brain fears being left behind. Instead of seeing success as inspiration, your mind sees it as danger. It whispers, you're late. You're not enough. You're too slow. Start panicking. But success isn't a race. No one is ahead of you. They're just living their story, not yours. When you compare, you're judging a life you don't fully understand. Hidden struggles, silent sacrifices, personal timing. You don't see them. So why let your peace be destroyed by someone else's timeline? When your mind compares, remind it, their success isn't a threat. It's proof that growth is possible. Reframe the story. You are not behind. You are building. You are not slow. You are evolving. Pressure turns into patience the moment you understand that you are not competing with anyone but your past self. Let's go further. Your mind is loudest when you live without intention. Without a purpose, your brain invents problems to keep itself busy. Purpose gives direction. Direction gives clarity. Clarity gives calm. So ask yourself, what matters to me right now? What deserves my focus today? Not for the year, not for the decade, just today. Purpose doesn't need to be huge, it just needs to be clear. Today, I'll learn something new. Today, I'll improve one skill. Today, I'll move one step forward. Small purpose, big calm. Here's the question you must carry with you now. Who is in control? You or your thoughts? Most people live like a passenger in their own mind, being tossed around by worries and stories. But you're not the passenger. You're the driver. Your thoughts are not your orders. They're suggestions. You choose which ones to follow. The mind is a tool, not a master. It should serve you, not rule you. Calm comes when you stop being a slave to your thoughts and become the one who decides which thought stays and which one leaves. Positive thinking isn't forced optimism. It's choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. So from today forward, do this. Question your thoughts. Doubt your fear. Pause before reacting. Let your mind speak, but don't let it command. Your peace doesn't come from controlling life, it comes from controlling which thoughts shape your reality. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into emotional control, how to remain calm when life hits hard, not just when your mind creates problems, but when real chaos shows up at your door. Because the world won't change for you, but your mind can.
Chapter 4. Staying calm when life punches you hard. Anyone can stay positive when everything is easy. Anyone can be calm when nothing is happening. Real strength is tested when life hits you without warning. You lose someone. You lose money. You lose an opportunity you worked for. A relationship ends. A plan collapses. A dream breaks. You don't get to choose the pain. You only get to choose your response. Most people panic because they believe emotions must disappear before they can act. They wait for fear to fade. They wait for sadness to go away. They wait for clarity before moving forward. But life doesn't reward waiting. Calm is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to act with clarity despite how you feel. Imagine this. You're building something important. You're giving everything you have. Then suddenly, the business collapses, or someone betrays you, or an illness forces you to stop. Your mind screams, "Why now? Why me? How do I fix this?" Your body tightens, your heart races, your brain becomes a storm. This is where most people lose, not because the situation destroyed them, but because panic became their master. When life hits hard, your first goal is not to solve anything. It's to protect your clarity. No big decisions, no desperate words, no emotional reactions. You don't move until your mind becomes still. You don't fight the storm. You anchor yourself until it passes. Let's make it practical. You receive bad news. Instantly, your chest tightens, your thoughts accelerate. Instead of reacting, do this. Sit, breathe deeply, and say, "Not now. I'll think when I'm calm." Not solving problems immediately is not weakness, it's discipline. You don't let fear make decisions for your future. You see, chaos tries to rush you. Urgency kills clarity. The more pressured you feel to respond, the more likely you are to make a mistake that costs you years. Calm decision-making saves lives, relationships, careers, and dreams. One calm choice can undo 10 emotional mistakes. Let's look at a real-life example. Two people lose their job on the same day. One panics, argues, begs, calls everyone, tries to fix the situation instantly. They drown in fear-driven decisions. The other takes a day to breathe. They think slowly. They study their savings. They reflect on their skills. They contact the right people at the right moment. One loses power. The other builds a new start with strategy. Same problem, different response. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing feelings. You feel sadness. You feel anger. You feel disappointment. But you don't let these emotions shape your behavior. You acknowledge the feeling without becoming the feeling. Sadness is allowed in your mind, but it doesn't get to speak for you. Fear is allowed to exist, but it doesn't get to choose your actions. Anger is allowed to be felt, but it doesn't get to drive your words. Repeat this in your mind. Feeling is temporary. My choices are permanent. You don't protect your peace by avoiding pain. You protect it by refusing to let pain turn you into someone you are not. Now let's talk about expectations. Most pain comes from believing life owes you something, a smooth path, a predictable journey, a fair result. But life is not a contract. It doesn't give comfort in exchange for effort. Hard times are not punishments. They are training. Pressure is education. Pain is intelligence in disguise. The strongest minds are built when life becomes unfair. If your expectation is that life should always be easy, every difficulty will feel like injustice. But if you expect challenges, you respond to them like a strategist, not a victim. You ask, what is this trying to build in me? What skill, what strength, what discipline is being forged? Pain shapes patience. Failure shapes strategy. Loneliness shapes identity. Loss shapes direction. Rejection shapes direction. You don't grow despite hard moments. You grow because of them. Here's a moment of reflection. Think of one painful experience from your past, something you hated at the time, something that felt unfair. You're not the same person because of it. Something in you evolved. You learned something you wouldn't have learned without that hit. Calm comes from recognizing that pain always teaches more than comfort. But what about when the pain feels too heavy? When the situation feels impossible? Then you ask the right question. Not, how do I escape this? But how do I carry this without losing myself? Your peace should not depend on perfect circumstances. It should depend on your ability to stay grounded even in chaos. There's a powerful practice used by surgeons, firefighters, and military leaders. Slow breathing under stress. Not meditation, not relaxation. Functional calm. They train their body to stay steady when everything around them is burning. Why? Because panic kills intelligence. Calm saves lives. You don't need meditation retreats to learn calm. You learn it in real life. You breathe slowly when someone disrespects you. You answer later when you're emotional. You don't fight back instantly. You don't break your values to escape discomfort. You slow down when everything wants to speed you up. This is how millionaires, leaders, and low-reaction thinkers survive storms. They don't try to control reality. They control their state. Once the state is stable, the strategy becomes visible. Clarity emerges when emotions settle. Here's your homework until the next chapter. When something stressful happens, don't react. Say to yourself, let me think later. Take a walk. Sit silently. Drink water. Delay your response. Protect your clarity. One delayed reaction can save your relationships, your reputation, your money, your career, and your dreams. In the next chapter, we will shift into the mindset that keeps you truly positive. Not fantasy positivity, not fake smiles, but the art of seeing reality without losing hope. Because staying calm is only the first layer. Staying optimistic without lying to yourself is the real transformation.
Chapter 5. Real Optimism. Seeing reality without losing hope. Most people think positivity means pretending everything is fine, smiling when you're exhausted, acting grateful when you feel lost, forcing yourself to say everything will be okay when you don't believe it. That isn't strength, that's denial. Fake positivity is emotional dishonesty, and dishonesty weakens you. Real optimism is different. It doesn't lie. It doesn't ignore problems. It looks at life exactly as it is, then chooses to move forward anyway. Real optimism is not everything is perfect. It's even if things are hard, I can grow through this. One is a mask, the other is a mindset. Let's break it down. There are three kinds of people in difficult moments. The pessimist sees only the problem. The fake optimist denies the problem. The real optimist sees both the problem and the possibility. That's why the real optimist always wins long term. They don't collapse like the pessimist, and they don't get blindsided like the fake optimist. They face reality and search for strength inside it. Here's a real example. Let's say your business fails. A pessimist says, I'm done. I'll never succeed. A fake optimist says, it's fine. Everything is okay. No need to worry. But a real optimist says, this hurts. It's frustrating. But now I know what to improve. I can try again with more experience. They don't sugarcoat the pain. They use the pain. When something goes wrong in your life, do you acknowledge it, or do you try to escape it with positive quotes and motivational lies? Ask yourself honestly, because avoiding the truth is the fastest way to repeat the same mistakes. Positive thinking is not telling yourself good stories. It's training yourself to respond with strength. When you fail, When someone betrays you, when opportunity disappears, don't try to convince yourself it's beautiful. Admit that it's painful. Then ask, how can this make me stronger? Now let's talk about expectations. The main reason people lose hope is because their expectations are unrealistic. They expect life to reward effort quickly. They expect growth to feel comfortable. They expect success to come without setbacks. They expect relationships to be easy if they are meant to be. These expectations destroy positivity. Real optimism expects difficulty, not as a tragedy, but as part of the journey. When you expect resistance, you're not shocked by it. You're prepared for it. Athletes don't get depressed because training hurts. They expect it. Students don't quit because studying takes time. They expect it. So why do you expect success to feel smooth? Life becomes lighter when you stop expecting ease. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "Of course it's happening. I'm growing." Pain stops being an interruption and becomes instruction. Let's make this relatable. Think of someone who quit something they cared about, a business, a talent, a relationship. They didn't quit because it was impossible. They quit because they expected it to be easy. They interpreted struggle as failure instead of development. That's the difference between winners and quitters. Not talent, not luck, expectations. If you choose to be a real optimist, your mindset becomes simple. You say, success takes time. Growth takes pressure. Lessons take mistakes. You don't suffer because something went wrong. You evolve because something went wrong. Now let's talk about hope. Hope isn't believing everything will magically improve. Hope is trusting that you will improve. Hope isn't blind faith. Hope is confidence in growth. It's believing, even if life doesn't get easier, I'll get stronger. Very different energy, very different outcome. Fake positivity tries to protect your feelings. Real optimism builds your character. Fake positivity avoids reality. Real optimism faces it with intelligence. Fake positivity wants comfort. Real optimism chooses strength. Here's something practical you can use every day. When something disappoints you, don't rush to say, "It's fine." Instead say, "I can handle this." See the difference. "It's fine" is denial. "I can handle this" is power. You're not lying to yourself. You're reminding yourself of your capability. Real optimism is not about good feelings. It's about inner preparation. It trains your mind to stay focused on solutions, not illusions. If you can stay realistic without drowning in negativity and hopeful without lying to yourself, you become unstoppable. Let's make it even more personal. Think of a tough situation you're facing right now. You don't need to love it. You don't need to pretend it doesn't hurt. Just own this truth. This is hard, but I'm learning how to navigate it. That's your strength speaking. That's your true positivity. Life doesn't reward positivity. It rewards resilience, the ability to continue despite disappointment, the ability to grow through discomfort, the ability to choose progress when progress doesn't feel good. But how do you protect hope when life repeatedly tests you? You build evidence. You collect small wins. You remember that you survived difficult moments before. You list the things you once thought you'd never overcome, yet here you are. This is proof that you're stronger than your past pain. Proof kills doubt. When you stack this evidence, hope becomes realistic, not delusional. Real optimism is earned. You earn it every time you choose action over avoidance. Every time you learn from failure instead of denying it. Every time you continue even when progress feels invisible. And here's the truth that transforms your mindset forever. You don't become positive by avoiding difficulty. You become positive by realizing difficulty shapes you into someone worth respecting, someone others can rely on, someone you can rely on. Chapter 6. Protecting your peace around negative people. You can master your thoughts. You can stay calm when life hits you. You can build real optimism. But all of this will be tested the moment you enter a room filled with negativity. Stressed coworkers, angry strangers, dramatic friends, family members who complain about everything, people who drain energy without saying a single word. Staying calm alone is easy. Staying calm around chaos is mastery. Before you learn how to deal with negative people, you must understand one truth. You cannot change them. You can influence, inspire, or guide, but you cannot save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Most negativity isn't a problem to fix. It's a boundary to set. And boundaries don't require conflict. They require clarity. Let's start with the people who complain constantly. They don't want solutions. They want attention. They want someone to share their disappointment with. They want someone to agree that life is unfair. If you try to fix their problems, they get irritated. If you ignore them, they get louder. Complaining is emotional addiction. The more you feed it, the more they want. So what do? You don't fight it, you don't join it, you don't judge it. You gently step out of it. When someone complains to you, instead of adding fuel, simply ask, "What do you think you'll do about it?" It forces them to shift from emotional reaction to responsibility. They either start thinking or they stop talking. Both outcomes protect your peace without conflict. Now, let's talk about drama seekers. These are people who exaggerate everything. A small disagreement becomes betrayal. A small mistake becomes disaster. Drama gives them identity. They feel powerful when there's chaos. They feel empty when things are quiet. If you respond emotionally to their stories, they won. If you stay calm, they lose interest. There's a powerful technique, emotional neutrality. When someone brings drama, respond with calm facts, not excitement, not panic, not emotional support for nonsense, just clarity. Drama survives on emotional reactions. Take away the reaction, and the drama evaporates. Now, what about negative friends who mock your goals? The people who feel threatened when you start growing. The ones who say you're trying too hard, changing too much, dreaming too big. They don't hate your ambition. They fear being left behind. Your growth exposes their stagnation, so they attack your improvement to protect their comfort. Your goal isn't to convince them. You must learn to let people stay where they choose to be. You are not responsible for dragging anyone upward. Growth isn't a group activity. Some people will lose access to you the moment you choose to elevate yourself. And that's not betrayal, that's evolution. Let's go deeper. Some negativity comes from love. Parents who try to protect you by scaring you. Friends who warn you because they fear for you. Their negativity isn't hatred, it's fear disguised as advice. They don't believe in possibility because they've never seen it work. You can respect their fear without absorbing it. When someone says, "What if you fail?" answer with, "Then I'll learn." When they say, "It's risky," answer with, "So is staying the same." You don't need them to believe in your path. You just need to walk it anyway. Now, here's the most difficult one: toxic relationships. People who manipulate, guilt trip, disrespect, or control you. Calm won't fix them. Positivity won't fix them. Communication won't fix them. The only cure is distance. You cannot find peace in places that destroy your self-worth. You don't need a dramatic exit. You don't need to explain or justify. Just reduce access. Limit contact. Protect your time. Guard your mind. Your peace is expensive. Not everyone deserves it. Now, let's talk about energy protection. There are 3 levels. First, physical boundaries. Not seeing someone often, limiting communication, refusing to engage in toxic conversations. Second, emotional boundaries. Not taking their mood personally, not trying to solve their problems, not letting their opinion define your value. Third, mental boundaries. Choosing what to think about after you leave them. You can leave someone's presence, yet carry their negativity in your mind for hours. The real boundary begins in your thoughts. Ask yourself, why am I mentally replaying their negativity? Why am I giving my energy to someone who doesn't even think about me? Guarding your thoughts is the final stage of peace. Now, here's something subtle. You don't need to avoid all negative people. Sometimes people are negative because they're hurting. They need understanding, not judgment. You can support them without absorbing their pain. You listen without merging. You care without carrying their pain. You empathize without becoming their emotional container. To do this, train yourself to stay grounded in your body. When someone unloads negativity onto you, don't tighten your jaw or chest. Breathe slowly. Relax your posture. Listen with presence, not with emotional attachment. You'll notice the difference. You're there, but not absorbing. The key to mastering negativity is not controlling others, but controlling your doorway. You decide who enters your life, who stays at the door, and who must remain outside. You can't stop the wind from blowing, but you can close your windows. Peace doesn't mean silence around you. It means silence inside you, even when the world is loud. Take this with you. Your calm isn't a gift for others. It's a responsibility you owe yourself. You are not here to carry other people's storms. You are here to learn how to stay centered in your own sky.
Chapter 7. Ambition without anxiety. Ambition is beautiful when it builds you. It becomes toxic when it starts to break you. Wanting success is not the problem. The problem is wanting it so desperately that you lose your ability to enjoy life while chasing it. You push harder, think faster, sleep less, worry more. You don't feel proud. You rarely feel enough. You wake up already behind. You treat rest like a reward instead of a basic need. You feel guilty when you're not doing something. And slowly, the dream that was supposed to free you begins to suffocate you. You didn't choose ambition to suffer. You chose ambition to grow, to expand, to elevate your life. So why does success feel like pressure more than fulfillment? Because somewhere along the journey, your ambition stopped being a choice and became a fear. Fear of missing out, fear of falling behind, fear of being average, fear of being forgotten. The truth is harsh. Many ambitious people don't actually chase success. They run away from insecurity. They don't work to improve their life. They work to escape their self-doubt. This is why their achievements feel empty and their progress never satisfies them. They don't want a better life. They want to stop feeling like they're not enough. But you can't outrun a feeling. You have to transform it. Let's look at how ambition turns into anxiety. You set a goal, you start motivated. Then you compare your progress to others. Someone your age is ahead. Someone younger is doing better. Someone with less experience is winning. Suddenly, your goal becomes a race, not against your past self, but against strangers who don't even know you exist. Then every delay feels like failure. Every mistake feels like humiliation. Every slow moment feels like danger. Stress takes over. You don't learn, you rush. You don't build, you chase. You don't grow, you panic. You don't rest, you collapse. And you never celebrate progress because you're always looking at where you're not instead of appreciating how far you've come. That's not ambition, that's self-punishment. Here's the shift. Ambition should come from vision, not from fear. From purpose, not from insecurity. From inspiration, not from comparison. Think of the calmest, successful people you know. They are not the ones who rush. They are the ones who move with intention. They don't panic through progress. They build it brick by brick, without chasing the approval of anyone. Ambition without anxiety starts with redefining success. Success is not speed, it is direction. Success is not intensity, it is consistency. Success is not achieving more, it is becoming more capable, more disciplined, more clear-minded, more stable. You don't become successful by hating where you are. You become successful by improving who you are. Now let's get practical. Here are 3 habits that turn ambition from pressure into power. First, celebrate progress weekly. Not the big results, but the steps you took. If you only celebrate achievements, you'll rarely feel proud. But if you celebrate efforts, habits, learning, consistency, then every week becomes a victory, and victory builds motivation. Motivation fuels patience. Patience produces success. Second, set goals with boundaries. Not "I'll work until it's done," but "I'll work with intensity for these hours and stop." Productivity without limits becomes self-destruction. Your brain needs cycles of deep work and deep rest. Even high-performance athletes train with rest built in. They don't grow by pushing nonstop. They grow by balancing stress with recovery. You're not a machine. Treating yourself like one doesn't make you more successful. It makes you exhausted. Third, detach your identity from your achievements. You are not your progress graph. You are not your income. You are not your productivity. You are a human being learning, building, evolving. If your self-worth rises and falls with your results, you will never have peace. Learn to measure your life by growth, not performance. Let's ask a hard question. What if your biggest problem isn't that you're too slow, but that you're too impatient? What if your timing isn't wrong, but your expectations are unrealistic? What if the universe is not saying no, but is saying not yet, become stronger first? Success has a rhythm that cannot be forced. You cannot rush maturity, wisdom, skill, experience, reputation, or mastery. Some things take time because you need to transform before you receive them. Success isn't something you get, it's something you become. So here's the mindset of calm ambition. Move daily, but without panic. Work hard, but not as if your worth depends on it. Push yourself, but don't poison yourself. Want more, but don't hate your life while pursuing it. Real ambition is patient. Real ambition respects the process. Real ambition doesn't chase results. It grows into them. You don't need to kill yourself to live your dream. You need to build yourself into the kind of person who can sustain that dream without burning out. Breathe. Slow your thoughts. Focus on building habits, not rushing outcomes. Success belongs to those who can keep going without destroying their peace. In the next chapter, we will tackle another hidden enemy of calm: impatience with yourself, your path, and your evolution. You'll learn how to stop forcing life to move faster and start building a pace that leads to lasting success, not momentary victory. Because life isn't asking you to sprint, it's asking you to stay.
Chapter 8. Patience with your path. Impatience is the silent killer of long-term success. It's not the obstacles that break people. It's the belief that success must happen fast, otherwise it isn't happening at all. You've probably felt this. You start something, you give effort, you wait, and nothing happens immediately. The brain begins to whisper, maybe this isn't working. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should try something else. That voice doesn't want clarity. It wants escape. Impatience is not hunger for success. It's fear disguised as urgency. Let's start with a reality many people refuse to accept. Every worthwhile result has a hidden timeline. You can't force a seed to grow faster by staring at it. You can't make muscles stronger by checking the mirror every hour. You can't build respect by demanding recognition. Growth does not respond to pressure. It responds to persistence. Think about anyone who is truly excellent at something: a skilled communicator, a great entrepreneur, a powerful athlete, a respected leader. None of them arrived quickly. They built their identity in silence before anyone saw results. They spent months or years practicing, failing, adjusting, showing up even when no one cared. Results came as a side effect of patience, not pants. But today's world has poisoned our perception of time. Social media rewards speed. Trends reward shortcuts. Everyone wants success that arrives instantly, but no one wants the process that creates mastery. You compare your timeline to someone who may have been building for 10 years. You see their success, not their seasons of invisibility, and you punish yourself for not being there yet. Here's the truth. You will never feel patient if you are constantly looking sideways. Comparison makes your journey feel late, even when you're on time. You are not behind. You're simply early in your story. Early is uncomfortable. Early feels slow. Early looks empty from the outside. But early is essential. Mastery is invisible before it becomes admirable. Let's get personal. Think about something you quit in the past: a skill, a business idea, a personal goal. Did you quit because it was impossible, or because you expected results too quickly? Be honest. Most dreams don't die from lack of ability. They die from lack of patience. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean waiting passively. Patience means continuing to work even when progress is invisible. You don't demand reward. You build the character that will eventually deserve it. Patience is not waiting. Patience is trusting your effort. Now let's address a dangerous mindset:
The idea that if something takes too long, it's not meant for you. That belief is how people sabotage themselves. Success doesn't leave signs of progress in the beginning. Sometimes the results come all at once, after months of silence. A tree doesn't grow gradually visible branches first. It grows invisible roots. Without roots, any growth would collapse. Your life works the same way. Before the world sees your results, life needs you to build roots, discipline, emotional maturity, consistency, resilience. Here's a practical exercise. Stop asking, "How long will it take?" and start asking, "How far can I go if I don't stop?" Time becomes irrelevant when you're busy improving instead of counting the days. Another mistake people make is assuming success should feel exciting all the time. It won't. Growth is often repetitive, boring, unromantic. You'll practice the same skill again and again. You'll work through silent months with no applause. You'll repeat routines until they become identity. You don't grow by chasing constant excitement. You grow by embracing consistency even when it feels ordinary. And here's the paradox. Once you accept the slow pace, life speeds up. Opportunities appear when you stop begging for them. Skills develop when you stop rushing them. Results arrive when you become the kind of person who can maintain them. Patience is not a delay, it's a preparation. Now let's talk about emotional patience with yourself. Growth comes with mistakes, and impatience makes you punish yourself for them. You think you should know more. You think you should respond better. You think you should be further ahead. But you're learning. You're evolving. Criticism won't make you better. Compassion will. Instead of saying, "Why am I not there yet?" say, "I'm becoming someone who can get there." That shift removes frustration and replaces it with direction. You're not stuck. You're developing. So how do you practice patience in a world that rushes you? 1. Fall in love with repetition. Mastery is repetition. Results come from showing up even when it's not fun. 2. Track effort, not outcome. If you stayed consistent today, you won. 3. Make peace with slow progress. Slow progress is still progress. 4. Choose depth over speed. Learning deeply beats building quickly. Success is not a highlight reel. It's a long hallway, and most of it is walked in silence. Here's your reminder before the next chapter. You don't need to hurry. Nothing great is built fast. What's yours will find you when you're ready, not when you're impatient. Patience doesn't block success. It builds the version of you who can own it without breaking.
Chapter 9. The Art of Letting Go. Most people don't lose peace because of what's happening right now. They lose peace because they keep holding on to what already ended. Old disappointments, old mistakes, old relationships, old expectations, old versions of themselves. You cannot feel calm while dragging the past behind you like a suitcase you refuse to put down. Peace doesn't require more. Peace requires less. Letting go isn't forgetting. It isn't pretending something didn't matter. Letting go means you respect what happened, you learn from it, and you stop letting it control who you're becoming. Think about how many things still live in your mind long after they ended in reality. A comment someone made years ago. A person you trusted who betrayed you. A dream you failed to reach. A version of yourself you're ashamed of. These memories should be lessons, but you've turned them into prisons.
Here's a truth that many people never accept. Your past cannot hurt you anymore unless you keep bringing it into your present. Pain only repeats when you carry it with you. Let's make this practical. Think of someone who hurt you. You don't need to forgive them to free yourself. You just need to stop expecting a different past. You don't need closure. You don't need apologies. You don't need justice. You need acceptance. It happened. It shaped me. Now it's time to move forward. That's closure. You give it to yourself. Now, let's look at failure. Most people don't fail because they make mistakes. They fail because they refuse to release their old identity. They keep defining themselves by who they were when they didn't know better. You can't become who you want to be if you keep defending who you were. Stop repeating the story of how you failed. Start writing the story of what you're building now. Failure is not a permanent identity. It's a temporary event. Its purpose is to redirect you, not define you. Let's talk about expectations. Many people suffer not because life is hard, but because they hold on to how life should have been. You think a relationship should have lasted. You think a career should have worked. You think a friend should have supported you. You think someone should have treated you better. Expectations create emotional debt. You keep waiting for life to repay you for something it never agreed to. The moment you release those expectations, you free yourself from the prison of should have been. Reality becomes lighter. You stop fighting the truth and start using it. Now, what about letting go of people without becoming cold? Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to control what doesn't belong to you. You can love someone and still choose distance. You can respect someone and still exit their life. You can support someone without sacrificing your mental health. If a person breaks your peace repeatedly, letting go is not disrespect. Letting go is self-respect. And here's a deeper layer. Letting go also means releasing your attachment to outcomes. You want a result so badly that you suffocate it. You obsess, you overthink, you react to every delay. But the best opportunities don't arrive through force. They arrive through alignment. When you let go of the need to control everything, you create space for better things to enter. Try this mindset shift. I'll do my best and I'll let life respond in its own timing. That sentence alone can remove half of your anxiety. Because anxiety comes from trying to control what isn't yours to control. Letting go isn't passive. It's powerful. It is the decision to stop carrying what blocks your clarity, your energy, and your evolution. If something is meant to stay, it will. If it leaves, it was never your path. You don't need to force what fits. You just need to release what doesn't. You don't grow by gripping tighter. You grow by letting go of what no longer belongs in your future. Conclusion. Calm isn't a talent. It's a discipline. Peace isn't a gift. It's a choice. Positivity isn't pretending. It's perspective. You learned how to stop reacting to others, how to question your thoughts, how to stay strong when life hits you, how to build real optimism, how to protect your energy, how to be ambitious without anxiety, how to stay patient with your growth, and how to let go of what no longer serves your future. Your life won't suddenly become easy, but your response will become intelligent. Your mind won't always be quiet, but your choices will stay grounded. You won't avoid storms, but you'll walk through them without drowning. Calm is your power. Positivity is your skill. Peace is your strategy. Strength is your identity. Subscribe to the Millionaire Library, and if you want to go deeper, I left a full playlist waiting for you in the description. Now, a final suggestion.
If you want to take the next step, listen to this audio, How to Become Dangerously Confident. It will show you how to turn your calm into presence, respect, and unstoppable inner authority.